Well, boys, you guys see the title, man. I haven't uploaded a video in a while, but that's because my voice has been gone, so I physically haven't been able to make a video. It's not because I didn't want to or I was being lazy, but you know, we're back again, and you see the title and you're wondering, how did you turn your best week in trading so far into your worst week? How does that add up? Well, I'm going to show you guys today, and I'm going to show you guys everything that transpired throughout this whole week. Overall, I thought it was a very good week until today. We're going to see what I did to mess this whole week up of profits, of getting one step closer to this payout. I messed it all up in one single day, boys. If, let's just say, I didn't trade today on Friday and did what I did, next week I would have needed 2 more trading days or 1 more trading day if I had just flipped today to be eligible for the payout, right? And in 2 or 3 days I was gonna be above the, if I kept trading the way I was trading, I was gonna be above the buffer to be able to take a payout, to be able to take my first payout. You guys have seen the journey so far, from blowing accounts, struggling with discipline and psychology, and I can officially say that today, Friday, the 21st of February, I disregarded my rules. I wasn't disciplined. I wasn't trading my setup. I kept taking losses. I didn't blow the account, which that's the only good news about this, that I didn't blow the account. But I practically reversed all of my progress again like I did on Tuesday. So I did that twice this week. The only difference from Tuesday is that I only lost twice, but it was on my setup. And only reason I lost that much was because I was a bit sized up. That's not the case with today. Today, I took over 5, maybe 6, 7 trades that led me to be down on this damn account. Well, I'm not down on the account, up 200, but I still have that trailing, remember? So now I only have $600, maybe $700, 6, 7. Now maybe only have $600 to $700 of drawdown available. But now I had to bounce back the whole account because I gave all my profits away to $2,600 to be able to take a $500 payout. And I'm confident in myself. You know, I do believe that I can bounce back. It was at 400 and I bounced back all the way to 1,600. So, you know, that's not what's irking me, is because I know I could get it back. But it's just more like I have these sticky notes right here to help me out. So when I'm thinking about going crazy on the charts and I take a loss, I just walk away, right? The second thing that I did wrong was that I didn't journal to start the morning off, right? I did the same thing that I did on Tuesday. I didn't journal and write down what I was gonna do, my trading plan for the day, to have an ideal, clear goal in mind for the day and for the end of the week, to end the week off strong. And I was just in over my head, not really caring what trades that I took, if they were good, if it was my setup. None of them were my setup except for one, and guess what? My setup was the only one that won. I could have been done after the day and my account would be at $2,000 right now. One step closer to literally taking that payout, boys. But instead, I gave it all back. I gave it all back. You know, and we're sitting here once again having the same conversation that I've had before, but that was on the eval and now I'm on the funded account. I'm not just gonna sit here and talk about that. It has been a good week overall. Just today that I messed it all up, but I've never traded a funded account for this long, boys. I've never been on a funded account for more than 2 days, and I lasted the whole week up until now where I almost messed it up. It's showing the growth, right? The growth that I could actually do this, that I'm really one step closer to taking this payout and to being one step closer to achieving my goals and my dreams, which I guess that's the good thing. But you know, I'm not gonna get there if I keep having days like this where I reverse all my progress and go tilt, because that's what happened. I went tilt. And I recognize the main thing, like I keep saying, is gonna be following my rules. One thing that if you guys are traders and you're profitable, you know, or you know, you may have never thought of it like this, or to the people that are just starting out like me, that you might have not thought of it like this, right? But your future self is going to thank your current self for following your rules and staying disciplined, right? You owe it to the version of yourself in the future to have that respect for yourself, to have that discipline for your own rules and follow your plan. Because if you don't, that future version of yourself is not going to be the person that you envision in your mind. It's going to be a totally different person unless you make it with something else. But if we're trying to do this and go all out on this, the goal is to become the best possible traders and obviously make the most money that you can to take advantage of this skill and this opportunity that we have. And honestly, today was the first day that I bounced back into that mindset or just let myself get to that point that I generally kind of got angry. I kind of got angry when I was taking these losses. I wanted to just make my profits for the day, be one step closer, and I got greedy because I was up already $300. I could have had a winning day. I recognized that the markets weren't the best today to take my opportunity. I wasn't getting my setup. I got it once, and I didn't see it any other time before that. And I was forcing it. Once I lost the profits that I had made on that first trade, then I just wanted to get it back and bounce back $1,000. So overall, the lesson for today was just I was being greedy. I wasn't following my rules. I wasn't being disciplined, and I got emotional. That's the simple truth for you guys. Some people sit here and try to hide it from you, but I'm not. Like I said, I'm an open book when it comes to this journey and documenting this as truly and transparent as it is. How it is. So my account is currently sitting at $50,200, but I still have a funded account. So let's just try to look at the benefits, or not the benefits, but just trying to look at the brighter side of and not beating myself down about it, because I know I'll bounce back next week. Obviously, just gotta journal and reflect on why I'll never do this again, because obviously it hurts to do that to myself after having experienced it for so long. It's like a damn toxic baby mama that you got in your life. You get what I'm saying? This negative mentality and all these bad stuff that you do when you're trading that causes you to go tilt, it's like a damn generational curse that you gotta let God come into your life and wipe you clean. You get what I'm saying? And that's that. Now it's time to see it live on the charts, so come along. All right, so on Monday, this is what it was looking like, right? Very, very bearish drop. But overall, it was just very bearish on the downtrend, right? Let's skip a little bit ahead. See what I was seeing on the lower time frame. I saw this imbalance on the 5-minute, and I told myself if we could close above this, we could possibly make a move up to fill about halfway and bounce down, or it could keep pushing up all the way to sweep the previous high, London high. And that's exactly what I marked out. London low, London high, Asia high, and Asia lows. I said rejecting, I don't like, which I didn't like because it was rejecting and it was ranging. But most of the times when it starts rejecting like that, that means it's just gonna stay in that spot for for a couple minutes or whatever it does, and then it's gonna shoot right back down. So I didn't like that. It just kept rejecting. I didn't get my setup, and I was done for the day on Monday. My balance was still at $1,385 for the account. All right, so on Tuesday we already started off the screen recording. This is live screen recordings, by the way, and I was already in the trade. All right, as you can see from here, there was an imbalance on the 1 minute that it inversed, right? And a liquidity sweep right here. But it did have a strong close down, right? And if we see, let me see if I go on the higher time frame. Oh, I already lost that trade, okay? So I got in on this trade, up 250, 150, 30. Now we're going to break even. Now it starts rejecting. And I decided to move my stop. Did I? No, I don't think I did move my stop. And I didn't set a manual stop loss. So when it did go down, it went down and it was pretty hefty. This is the day that we lost, I think around 900 for this day. It was quite a big loss. And as you can see, it already hit my stop loss. I decided to wait for a wick. Not a very good idea due to the fact that it just pushed right after. I decided to just set my stop. And that's it. I got stopped out on that trade. Alright, and for the second trade that I took on that day was another inversion off that gap, but it didn't actually fully inverse. Alright, if you take a look, the line is about right here, and it didn't actually fully inverse, so I broke my rule when it came to that, and I was on the 3-minute. So I definitely did break my rule by not waiting on a full confident setup, because even though it did start to look, it did look good based off what I was seeing, it wasn't entirely my setup. So let's see what happens here. Same thing, starts going to the downside. I put my stop loss for the 2 orders that I was in, and I was in pretty heavy to that day, I admit, but the volume wasn't that big, because if I was in on 2 contracts right there, I would have already been down a lot more if the volume was high, you know. The reason why this trade failed was because we had this larger imbalance on the 1 minute that didn't get inversed. It acted as just a resistance. It came in here, it filled halfway into the gap, a little bit more actually, and then as you can see, I went from being up $1,300 something on Monday to now only being up $443 on Tuesday. So Wednesday, as you can see, I'm in a trade off this higher time frame imbalance inversion. Right. So we had a higher time frame imbalance. Right now I'm currently looking at the 1 hour, but I was just seeing what was really happening. I took the trade, I believe on the 5 minute it was an inversion, and we had a 1 hour inverse as well, almost around 10 a.m. right, 9:53. The 4 hour candle hadn't closed yet, but in my mind I knew once that 4 hour candle closed, we're about to be bearish, changing character if we do inverse this gap on the higher time frame. So I got in a little bit early on the higher time frame, but not on the lower time frame. We inversed on the 5 minute, but all these candles were yet to close. As you can see, 6 minutes and 30 seconds left till closure. Let's see what happens when that candle did close. And now I just sit back and watch the trade work out. Alright, at this point, I first trailed it, then I went break even. Because at this point, I just wanted to secure a free trade and maybe secure a little bit of profit, as you can see right there. So around this point is where the trade really just started to push to the downside. And I believe I was considering to get out somewhere around here. Alright, as you can see, the trade was pushing, hitting about $1,000 on the P&L, unrealized though. And at this point, I was holding and waiting for it to hit my full TP, but I really should have just taken profit at this point. As you can see, I moved my stop to where if it did hit my stop loss, I took a dub on the trade for about $700 something. Alright, as you can see, the trade hit my stop, my trailing stop, leaving me with a balance of $1,200 on the account. Overall, it was a good trade. Great analysis. What more can I say? I was up $765, but then this is where I started to mess up. I was already up $765. This is where I need to be more disciplined and call it a day, because right here I caught a setup. I got in on a setup thinking that a reversal was coming off of that sweep, and also bouncing off of a zone that was previously bounced off, and I had taken a dub on it before. As you can see, we're in one contract. I think at some point we averaged in down here. Let's see, we actually got stopped out for around $400. So with that being said, I went from being up $700 on the day to now being back to my initial starting point. But I had confidence in the setup. I got in, I sized up, and as you can see, the trade started to pan out, even though it did kind of edge me a little bit, but then I started to get back in profit. was almost at full TP, as you saw. And when I decided to get out of the trade manually, it didn't hit my TP. It came back down, and I missed out on about $300 of profit. But it is what it is. The trade eventually did hit my TP like a minute after. But I'll let you guys take a look at that again. Boom, pop, $700. Then it went down to 500, leaving me with $1,051 on the day. This would have ideally been my TP, and it did get smashed through, as you can see. So it was a good setup. I just lost money trying to make more money and being greedy. And I would have initially just made more money if I just didn't trade on, if I just didn't try to take that second setup. Yes, multiple setups are going to happen, but the important thing is to remember that the next day there will be another one and another one and another one. If you got one setup, $760 in a day is great. For me right now, at least where I'm at, there shouldn't be a reason why I'm going back in and trying to be greedy and take more. You get what I'm saying? I just need to get a payout. You know, I just need to get to that payout. On Thursday, I took this trade, a clear imbalance and a clear inversion of that imbalance right around there. So I got into the downside, risking about $665 to make. I ended up actually moving my TP to about midway to only make $900 on this trade if it did work out. There's another imbalance that if it did inverse this one, I would move my stop to just be a little bit more secure and not risk losing all the money that I'm risking. Because once it does inverse that second one, there's a very low chance that it does come back and stop me out above it, right? And if it does, then that means the trade was just wrong. So that's a good point to have my stop. As you can see, it was about to inverse it, and it did on the 3 minutes. So it's a strong inversion, and I'm already up $700 bucks, around $800 almost on one contract. Alright, so I trailed my stop and I got out on that trade for about 400 and something odd dollars. It was a good analysis, a good dub, and I think I did a good job at trailing. As you can see, if I was just a little bit more patient and didn't trail, the trade ended up working out to my TP, which I decided to get back in again after this inversion, which was obviously not a great point to be at, because I just caught the falling knife, if you get what I'm saying. And I was instantly in a bad position right here and lost all the profits and a little bit more for that day that I had made. Once again, now you see there's a clear problem getting repeated. I make profit, I lose it. I make profit, I lose it, I get it back. I make profit, I lose it, I get it back. So I lost the profit that I had just made on that trade. I was back in on the trade. I got out break even on the trade. At this point, I probably should have just been done for the day, but I didn't lose twice in a row, so I technically wasn't breaking my rules right there, right? Let's skip a little bit forward ahead to see what happened. Once I saw this strong push up, I saw that this candle closed above all these previous wicks, indicating a change of character on the lower time frame. I decided I was going to get in early, and there was an imbalance right here that had gotten inversed. I believe it was on the 3 minute, and I'm not going to bore you guys for too long waiting for this trade to fully pan out, so I'm going to skip ahead like this. As you can see, I start to be in profit. It inversed another imbalance right here. I'm just trying to run you guys through what was going in my mind. But it did inverse that. Then, as you can see, I was up in profit once again for the day. And I took 700 something odd bucks for the day. And that was my last trade. Let's see what I said on the explanation. Bullish inversion after liquidity sweep to the downside. up 644 on the day after a loss. Overall, not a bad day, but it could have been just 2 wins instead of a loss, right? So instead of me forcing that push to the downside afterwards on a continuation of my setup, I could have just either been done or wait for a setup like this one to happen to then take the trade. Because all I did was I just reversed my progress on that day, and this is a bad thing that I continuously do, and it is affecting my trading, and it is affecting my progress and holding me back. And that's exactly why this is a good thing to do. Sit here and review your trades, see what you did good, what you could have done better, what you did bad to improve on. Starting on Friday, the very detrimental day that ruined my whole account practically. As you can see, I had a starting balance of $1,600 to start off Friday, right? $1,600. My idea was I was just counting this out, just doing my pre-market analysis, or not pre-market because I woke up late again, my market analysis. And as you can see right here, we had data lows from news that had not been taken out. I thought, well, it took out the high and it's most likely going to come down and take out the low right after, because that's typically what happens when you have a strong news candle. As you can see, it did take it out. Let's see, let's skip forward to see what was going on. Alright, as you can see, we had a lot of liquidity to the downside that could have been taken out. So I went for a short. I couldn't really tell you what was my setup right here, which that's not a good thing. Like I said, I can't really tell you what my setup was. Right around here, I think I was just continuing to the downside. There's an imbalance right here. I thought it failed to inverse it, and then we can possibly see a push down to continue to take out liquidity, and this being a pullback from what just previously happened on the drop down. As you can see, straight drop down. This could be a pullback, and then to come sweep that liquidity, which in turn it did sweep that liquidity. As you can see, my idea was right. I was correct on my analysis, right? I was up almost $500 on this trade. I trailed it. It didn't. I put it below the actual. I put it below the candle, and it was a stop loss order. So in turn, it just kind of glitched for a bit, and then it kept pushing down afterwards. So I mean, I guess kind of a blessing, but then it just wigged right after sweeping that. So I got out on that trade. That trade left me with, I'm not too sure. I can't really see the balance, but it was a winning trade nonetheless. What I need to start doing, once again, I hate to repeat myself, from 3 days in a row of watching the reviews, is just taking the profit that I make on the first day, slowly build the account. It's not like I could get to $10,000 and just grab that payout anyways. You get what I'm saying? All I had to do was get above the buffer, be consistent, and I was taking consistent dubs on the first or second trade. And then here I come, and now I'm in on a trade long because I see an inversion to the upside, right? But we're on such a strong bear trend that, like, now looking back, this is just pullback, dump, pullback, dump, pullback, dump. And then now I'm in another loss, and I gave back all my profit. Small loss, I took it because it swept buy side liquidity and inversed small imbalance. But got stopped. Now I'm in another trade because I got back in on that setup, and I'm up on this trade. Not for long. As you can see, right back down, got stopped out. Small loss, lost again for the same reason. I will wait for the gap to be inversed to try again. So I already lost twice, and I gave back all my profit. Why am I looking at this point? Anything beyond this that you're seeing right here, I lost twice. For some reason, now I was in again for shorts. No, for longs. Sorry, I was in again for longs with a super tight stop loss. Anything beyond this that you see is over trading, it's bad habits, is everything that you could possibly think about. Right? I was in again. And then as you can see, I got stopped out already. Let's see, because I know I took more than this. But I waited for this to be inversed, and it wasn't even a strong inversion. But as you can see, if you can keep up with the chart, another loss on the day. That's what, 3-4 losses already. Oh, and I was in again. Now I switched my bias to short. Another trade. This, I can't even keep up with this. If you can't keep up with the amount of trades that you're doing and don't even know what you're doing when you're watching the review, that's how you know you're doing something bad. And at this point, I honestly was just trying to make my money back. Lost. Now I'm in again for longs, which this was not even such a bad idea, but I just caught it so late. But once again, this could just be a pullback to dump. As you can see, another loss. I'm gonna go right to my stop loss. And now I'm in another trade. Bro, I thought this was gonna be the end. I'm not gonna lie to you. I deadass thought this was gonna be the end. Now I'm in another trade for shorts. Goodness gracious. I'm actually disgusted. And that was the end. I lost. I took one winning trade and lost about 6. So that was it. That was the full trading week. Honestly, now looking back, I take back what I said. I didn't lose. I didn't reverse my progress on my best trading week. This is definitely not my best trading week in terms of what I was doing. It was initially my best trading week, but I was still, now that I look at it, I was still doing a lot of things that I can now look back and say were truly bad habits. Right? First of all, I started getting greedy because, as you can see, I was winning a trade, then I lost it, then I won it back. But that's not always going to happen. You're not always going to win it back like you see on Friday. I was taking a trade, losing a trade, winning it back. Until my luck ran out. I won a trade, I lost 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 a trade, as you can see on Friday, and I reversed all my progress, bringing me to about $200 on the account after being up almost $1,700. That's disgusting. But what can we do? We push forward. You know, it's been a while since I did make a video, so if you're watching this and you're coming back, I appreciate you. I was sick, like I said, so there wasn't much I could really do. Without further ado, I'm gonna leave you guys with that one. Honestly, just one thing before I leave is just one thing that I would have to say is just make sure you're reviewing your trades, your journaling. Like I said, I continue to step on this. I continue to talk about this thing. I continue to say this because, as you can see, I'm reviewing my trades, and before I reviewed it, I thought this was my best trading week, and I thought that on Friday was just the catalyst of a bad trading day that swept my whole account. But no, it was the buildup of those little bad habits going into Friday, right? From Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. That from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the whole week leading up until Friday, I was doing bad mistakes and I was exercising bad habits. So it wasn't just one day that blew my account. It was the buildup of those bad trading days and of those bad habits that allowed me to think that what I was doing was okay. And then on Friday, it just exploded. All right, if you put so much water in a water balloon eventually start filling up the water balloon, and what happens? It blows up. It doesn't matter if it takes up until the water balloon is this big, eventually it's gonna blow. And that's what happens. You start to let yourself think that these bad mistakes and these bad habits are okay, and then eventually on one day you end up like me, damn near blowing your whole account because you let all those bad things build up. But I'm gonna leave you guys with that one. I appreciate you guys for watching. Overall, like you see, I only have around $600 or $700 left to draw down, which, let's see, man, I'm honestly not too confident in what's gonna happen. Let's try to bounce back from this. So I'll catch you on the next one, man. I appreciate you guys for watching. Keep tuning in. God bless.